My name's Emily. I'm filling in for Mari tonight, so just bear with me as I set everything up here. We're very excited. Okay, almost. Mari ran through this with me today, and she said, make sure you do all of this and do all of this. And now I'm all nervous that I'm gonna.
Don't be nervous. Oh my goodness. Hi, everybody. I'll talk. So Emily is my, just for everyone that no one knows Emily, Emily is my right-hand blogger, helper, communication, marketing wizard. How do you say a female wizard? A wizardess?
Sure.
I don't know. Yeah, so she's filling in for Mariana tonight, and while we get all organized, I'm glad that they're doing it and not me, because when it comes to that, I'm brutal, as you can ask them.
No, that's not true. Took me a minute, didn't it?
I mean, in general, with computers and stuff. So are we, so I don't see anyone saying hello, which is abnormal, not normal. Can you guys all hear us, see us, all that stuff? Can you guys see, do you see what I mean? I don't see anybody. Usually everyone's going like, hi from Florida, hi from Texas.
They're all waving. Clearly,
They're
I've done something wrong here. I'll make sure. Oh, here we go. Let's see.
Oh,
Mari
chat
told me
is
to do this
disabled.
too. Okay, try
Chat's
that. Are we good now? Hey, everyone. Sorry. I'm so sorry again.
Yeah, there we go. Yay.
Mari, I'm so sorry.
Jason from Singapore. Hi, Jason. Arizona, New Hampshire, Hawaii, California, Florida, Alberta, Long Island. Oh, Hong Kong, Washington.
Wow.
Cool.
Very
Hawaii.
cool.
That's super awesome. Rochester.
Yeah.
All right. And then have we gone live on Facebook?
We're ready to go. So
we're on Facebook too?
Yes, we're live on Facebook. Michelle has confirmed. So welcome everybody to tonight's very special event. So we have been working very hard over the last few months to get this new, very exciting product ready for you. And as usual, Julie, our fearless leader, founder and formulator, has been working so hard, tirelessly really, on research and development. And so we're ecstatic to finally be able to bring this to you. It's a revolutionary new product, and we've seen amazing results so far, those of us who've had the chance to use it, the lucky firsters. So I'll open up the stage to Julie so she can tell you all about it. Excuse me. If you have questions, we've made time at the end for questions, but please make sure they're just new product related. We'll only be answering ones that are about this new product. So without further ado, here's Julie. Enjoy, everyone, and thank you for joining us.
You did amazing. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen because this is something that is complicated, but not really complicated, but there's so much research and behind it that I think the best way to do it is I did put a slide presentation together so that I wouldn't miss anything and educate you guys as much as I can, because I know you're all educated nerds and like little sea sponges, sponging up everything that you possibly can to help your animals. So I am going to share my screen, go through the whole slide presentation, take notes so that if you want to ask me questions about certain things at the end, we'll have time to do that. Okay. All right. So now you have to bear with me because I have to, I'm going to be sharing my screen And let's do it this way. Share my screen. There we go. Share, and then I have to go to view and enter full screen. There we go. Okay, hopefully everybody can see this because I can't see the chat when I'm doing this full screen thing. So if there's a problem, just send it in the chat to Emily or Kaylin or one of our Adored Beast team, and they can text me or interrupt me at any point, Emily or Kaylin and all you guys that are out there, Tracy, at any point. Just interrupt me, text me, whatever you need to do if something goes sideways, because like I said, I can't see. So we are introducing our colostrum alternative. It's called Pawsitive Immunity. And for those of you that know me, you know that I am massively ethical, and it would take a bulldozer, and I don't even think that would work, for me to use something or produce something that I wasn't 100% behind. And this is not a slide presentation to slag colostrum. I'm only talking to you guys about this because it's the reason that we never had it. My business partner, Dion Albert, has a long history of being in the pet industry and as a distributor for all different kinds of pet supplements. And he wanted me to have a colostrum product right from the very get-go because it's incredible and a lot of people use it, and it's, to have it in our lineup would have been great, but I wasn't okay with using it, and he was very supportive about that. So lo and behold, about a year ago, a little more, I came across something that I've been digging into for about the last year, and finally have had enough research and development and conversations and trying it on a whole bunch of our all the rescue animals at the farm, and not all of them, but all the carnivore rescue animals at the farm, and a bunch of people that have animals with autoimmune disease and stuff. So it's working amazing, and so we've decided to have it as part of our lineup. So introducing Pawsitive Immunity, and it is our colostrum alternative. So what is it? It supports the immune function. It promotes homeostasis in the body, helps maintain normal histamine levels, helps maintain normal inflammatory response, promotes the body's innate resistance to pathogen, supports healthy digestion, and support for seasonal skin allergies. That's a biggie for everybody out there, and that's why I was hoping that lots of people would show up tonight, because I am really excited about it, in that, with lots of different things, but really in that regard a lot. So to me, it's always so mind-blowing when I find something that in nature supports sustainability, promotes ethical, humane practices, reduces waste, and helps support health and longevity. It is, I don't know, I was filmed today about some stuff for the rescue farm and different things in the medicinal mushroom forest, and I was explaining to them that how difficult it is to stay in your lane when it comes to really digging in and making sure that every single ingredient is exactly what we want and supports the planet and supports your pets the way I want it to support them, and does what it says it's supposed to do, and is completely clean. And but the big thing, that it doesn't hurt, destroy, cause suffering in all the other animals, insects, wildlife, whatever. It's a really important piece of Adored Beast, and it's a really big challenge to stay true to that. So what is it? Positive immunity is a serum-derived bovine immunoglobulin protein isolate. So from now on, when you see SBI, essentially it's a powder purified by edible bovine blood plasma. So when we talk about SBI now, from now on, that's what we're talking about. So serum-derived bovine immunoglobulin protein isolate. It comes from bovine serum collected from ethically raised, antibiotic, hormone-free, grass-fed New Zealand cows. Due to its high immunoglobulin content, it's an excellent natural source of IgG for digestive health and immune support. It's a unique alternative to bovine colostrum. It contains no lactose or milk proteins, which is really not tolerated well by a lot of animals. Now, you guys have heard me talk about caseins and things like that, and larger and smaller, and jerseys and goats and things like that have larger so that it doesn't slip past the gut lining. So with this not having anything to do with milk at all, it's really tolerated well. So what are the benefits? We're going to go through a whole bunch of benefits, but one of them is supports digestive and gut health. It's shown to consistently improve food intake and other nutritional parameters in a variety of animal species. Immunoglobulin containing plasma protein like SBI led to improvements in the caloric intake and metabolism of nutrients following a supplementation in healthy animals. So this is one study that was done. One of many, many, many. It supports SBI supplementation, prevents unwanted changes to specific markers of the gut barrier function, helps maintain colon mucosal height, cecal stromal structure, and colonic glandular tissue. We're going to go through that, and we have a little diagram. But what that means is that it showed in the research that the gut maintained its healthy height, so thickness. Helps maintain intestinal homeostasis. So intestinal homeostasis refers to the overall balance of functioning healthy intestinal tract, and it's critical for optimal nutrient utilization and immune function. SBI helps maintain intestinal homeostasis by supporting digestive function, maintaining a healthy mucosal immune system through mechanisms that involve antigen binding and strengthening gut barrier function. This is really important, and we're going to start to dig in now to some of the more scientific researchy terms. So SBI supplementation led to significant decreases in the expression of pro-inflammatory cytokines in the gut mucosal tissue, while simultaneously increasing levels of certain anti-inflammatory peptides. SBI resulted in significantly lower concentrations of serum markers for acute gut inflammation and epithelial damage. I am going to go into this big time down with some diagrams, because pro-inflammatory cytokines, for those of you that have done research on cancers and really severe autoimmune diseases and things like that, pro-inflammatory cytokines are not a welcomed party. So immunoglobulins. The biggest benefit of positive immunity comes from its immunoglobulins. SBI has the highest concentration of immunoglobulins of anything sourced naturally. Immunoglobulins set up the body to be able to respond to threats, pathogens, viruses, and challenges. Because of the higher concentrations of immunoglobulins, SBI has a better ability to bind to endotoxins, pathogens, antigens than colostrum does. This reduces pro-inflammatory cytokines, which are the precursor to chronic disease, including allergies, cancer, and autoimmune disease. Positive immunity actively inhibits antigens from setting off the immune response. This is limiting any opportunity for the inflammatory response that may lead to an overactive immune system, aka autoimmune in allergies, food sensitivities, things like that. What causes allergies is that the body responds to antigens. So when the body is over responsive, for anybody else out there that's heard me talk about things, autoimmune diseases is when the body creates, or even food sensitivities or food reactivities, things like that. The body goes into a heightened state of alert and it becomes overreactive and creates a myriad of issues. So we're going to go into how this helps prevent that. So how does it compare to colostrum? I'm sure a lot of people are thinking that right now, especially people that use colostrum for their animals or for themselves. So SBI is comprised of over 90% protein and consists of more than 50% immunoglobulins. Other peptides, growth factors found in colostrum or milk. Colostrum typically contains 20 to 25% of immunoglobulins. So the immunoglobulins are the things that are really the active players on the team of SBI and colostrum. And SBI contains 50%, at least 50, more than 50%. And colostrum typically only contains 20 to 25. So right then and there, it has a much higher concentration. So it's higher concentration of naturally sourced immunoglobulins than colostrum, and the highest of anything sourced naturally. Colostrum is not recommended for animals with hormone or hormone-induced or hormone-reactive cancers, whereas positive immunity does not contain the hormones that have the potential to stimulate these cancers. It does not interfere with the natural life cycle of the newborn calves. It uses blood, which might otherwise go to waste, which is always, to me, something huge. When we can use something from an animal that has, gone into human food, and I'm of that practice that nothing should go to waste and that everything should be honored, and we should be using every single solitary part so that we can honor and respect that animal. So this is a strong opinion of mine. It doesn't have to be everyone's opinion. And like usual with me, I always have my own thoughts and values and opinions, and it doesn't mean that others are wrong. But in my opinion, in our opinion for ABA, it's more of a natural source of immunoglobulins and more species oriented than colostrum. Colostrum is not meant to be given long term, and no mammal continues to drink milk throughout their lives, whereas blood is something a carnivore consumes all throughout their lives. Colostrum is, I'm going to go back to this for a second. So colostrum is, something that is produced by a mother, doesn't matter what mammal it is, and it's only produced for about 3 days. So when I think about it, I think that we should be learning from nature, not trying to teach nature or take something from nature and mold it into something that we believe that it should be. So colostrum really is only ever meant to be given to an infant for the first 3 days of their lives. That says something very strong to me, and what that says to me is that nature made it that way. So it was one of the reasons why I just, along with some ethical stuff, but it was one of the reasons why it just didn't sit right with me, was to give something that stimulated the body to do something that really it was only supposed to do the first 3 days of its life, to build that the first 3 days of its life. And I felt like by giving that every single day, it just didn't fit right with me. It just didn't sit with me with my philosophy of nature. And the fact that it's milk and, puppies and wolves and kittens and people are not drinking breast milk for, our adult lives. So it just just didn't seem to fit for me. So I'm going to go through what leaky gut is. Let me just take a fast look at something. That's okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. So I want to talk to you guys about leaky gut because a lot of people are probably wondering about, how does this compare with leaky gut protocol, and how does this support leaky gut, or how's this doing what it's supposed to be doing? So I'm just going to do a little recap. I'm sure everyone already knows this, but the gut can be initially become traumatized by many things, including antibiotics, drugs, processed food, endotoxins in food, stress, etc. An animal may even be born with an unhealthy microbiome, and often our dogs and cats are. And so are we. If our mama's gut isn't, pristine, then our guts are not going to be pristine even at birth. And then we have all that trauma after that. Environmental toxins, chemicals, stuff in our food, processed food, and basically the same goes for dogs and cats as it does for us and our horses. So then dysbiosis, which is the negative change of the microorganisms in the gut, occurs, leading to inflammation, stretching the mucosal junction. These mucosal junctions are key. They're part of the gut that stops toxins, pathogens, antigens, etc. from entering into the bloodstream, while also supporting the digestive process. When these junctions are traumatized, it leads to an increased permeability in the gut, hence leaky gut. When this happens, larger molecules and toxins can enter the bloodstream, leading to allergies and a myriad of chronic disease. So you can see this diagram that Mar did for me, our beautiful graphics girl. And this is what a normal gut looks like, and see how tight these junctions are. I think you can see my cursor, I hope. How tight these junctions are. And all of this stuff down here, right? So we only want things coming through that we want to come through. We don't want the pathogens and food particles. We don't want chemicals. We want what's supposed to be happening. They're supposed to stay here. The body's supposed to be digesting the food, the micronutrients, and the bacteria in the gut converts like a carrot into the vitamin K, and our all of our postbiotic effect of our short chain fatty acids. All of that wonderful stuff should be absorbable, but the things that shouldn't be absorbable are going into our bloodstream, or into our animal's bloodstream, when the gut becomes leaky, stretched, inflamed, very rigid, and it seeps right through and it goes into the bloodstream, and it creates an abnormal immune reaction. It also creates malnutrition, autoimmune disease, and all kinds of crazy stuff. So I want to tell you the role of leaky gut protocol, because I am very and I'm doing this now because I'm super concerned that people are going to look at our new Pawsitive Immunity and go, well, what is it going to do compared to the leaky gut protocol? So the rebalancer, it's very different. It couldn't be more different. And I think that when we look at the rebalancer, it supports the energetic shift that's caused by vaccines. So that homeopathic remedy was specifically put together at my clinic when I saw animals that just didn't seem like they could recover completely without addressing them homeopathically for over vaccinations. Healthy gut supports the digestive process to break down food when it enters the body, so that it can get into the smallest particles possible, because it takes a while for the gut to heal. So we want to have the least reactive and the most digestible products in our animals, in order for them to start being able to absorb their food properly and break it down, because it is inevitably going to leak through with leaky gut. And the idea is to try to make it as non-reactive as possible, Gut Soothe helps to decrease the inflammation in the mucosal lining. It supports a gel-like substance to allow the softening and smoothing of the lining, helping it to support the tightening of the junctions and replenishing the destroyed bacteria so the gut can be diversified and become balanced again. If anyone's ever had a sunburn, I always say that that's what it's like. If you move your arm and your arm feels like it's cracking, and it's like putting something on the gut to soothe it, to decrease the inflammation, to stimulate the healing of the mucosal lining. Liver tonic supports the organs when the toxins enter the bloodstream. It puts a huge tax on all the detoxifying organs, forcing them to work harder than they should have to, stressing them out. So it's imperative to support those organs when you have leaky gut, for sure. So Gut Seal helps to decrease inflammation and help enhance epithelial tissue, stimulate collagen, and support the proper repair of the mucosal junctions. This is very unique. This is a homeopathic preparation that I put together years and years and years ago at my practice, specifically to heal without scarring, which is a big deal, because when the gut heals, we want that gut to heal in a way where it's like brand new almost. We don't want, when you look at, inflammatory bowel disease, you see the scarring there, and we want to try to prevent that. So Pawsitive Immunity is so very different from the leaky gut protocol. The IgGs in Pawsitive Immunity help to decrease pro-inflammatory cytokines, which are small proteins that trigger or heighten inflammation and have been linked to diseases of the arteries, chronic disease, and cancer. It does this by binding the endotoxins, antigens, viruses, and pathogens, all the things that cause leaky gut, and excrete them through the feces. In doing so, it helps stop leaky gut to begin with. In this way, it can work as a proactive measure before leaky gut actually takes root. So for animals that, people are on the fence, do they have basically symptom-free animals? This product is, I don't know what else is like it to help prevent leaky gut. And now I'm going to tell you how it helps with it. So when used with the leaky gut protocol, Pawsitive Immunity helps to decrease the reactivity of the immune system, aka the symptoms of allergies and inflammation, while the gut's healing. So this is what it does. So down below, you see, I'm going to use my cursor again. You see the mucosal junction again, right? So what happens is, when this is an immunoglobulin, the systemic immunoglobulin. This is a gut immunoglobulin. So what happens when you're doing the leaky gut protocol? Pawsitive Immunity helps support the body by binding to the antigens that would otherwise leak into the body, preventing them from causing further irritation and inflammation, and allowing the gut to have a greater chance to heal. The immunoglobulins and Pawsitive Immunity bind to the endotoxins and antigens, and then they carry them out through the feces. This is hugely, hugely important to understand. So how I'm going to show you this way. So here's the normal gut. Here's the leaky gut that we talked about. And here's immunoglobulins. So when all of these things that are happening in the gut causes the gut to become inflamed, stretched, and then when these antigens and endotoxins pass through into the bloodstream, it creates this massive autoimmune disease. But it can also cause something called a cytokine storm. And cytokines are good, but they're not good when there's too many, and they're pro-inflammatory. And those cytokines cause, I can't even tell you, they are the underlying cause of so many, many, many chronic diseases. So what this does is it goes into the gut, it attaches, you can see here's the immunoglobulins, and here's, toxins and endotoxins and pathogenic bacteria and pollens and antigens and all the things that are creating this inflammatory reaction in the gut. They bind to them in the gut, so they prevent this from happening, right? They help to prevent the inflammation that causes this to stretch to begin with. But once it is stretched and we're dealing with leaky gut, the problem that we always have is that until these are healed, right? Until these are, the mucosal lining and the junctions become less stretched and start to heal back together, these things continue to seep through. They constantly seep through. By positive immunity binding to them, even when they are open and leaking, it stops them from going into the bloodstream. So it decreases right away the pro-inflammatory cytokine response. It will help to mitigate the symptoms, because the symptoms are coming from all of this stuff leaking into the gut lining and leaking through the gut lining. So I am like beyond excited about this, because it gives the gut the chance to heal while you're supporting them with all of the things that are in the leaky gut protocol. So you're pulling these toxins out at the same time you're using everything that you can use in the leaky gut protocol to actually wind up healing the gut tissue. The gut tissue becomes even more healed when all the inflammatory response slows down from in the gut. So we're not talking the gut lining, we're talking in the gut, removing that stuff from the gut. So I'm just gonna go back one more. Sorry. It's almost like sweeping the gut of all of the inflammatory reactive, like I said, endotoxins from food, all of that stuff, to help prevent and also to help heal the gut lining when you're also using the leaky gut protocol. So that is, I'm hoping I hope everybody understands that, because it really is a phenomenal tool when it comes to anything with chronic disease. The other thing that's really, really amazing about this product is that as a prevention, we are constantly going to be bombarded with, in the environment that we live in, we are inhaling and walking through constant pollution. It's just the way we're living. The food that your dog eats, the grass that they walk on, we are not living in this pristine area anymore where the air is really clean and our food is really clean and everything that you feed your animals comes from, nothing falling on even the grass, right? So there's not a lot. I mean, liver tonic is really helpful, because liver tonic supports the liver when it starts to stay clean and stay healthy, because it is being attacked by this stuff. But this particular product helps to remove those exciting causes, the causes of the chronic inflammation and the gut trauma and everything going sideways. So are there allergens? Positive immunity contains immunoglobulin protein isolate and lecithin. Does not contain milk products such as lactose, casein, or whey. It's a purified product that is antibiotic-free, grain-free, gluten-free, dye-free, and soy-free. However, it is made from beef. So if you guys have allergies, or your animals have allergies to beef, it's probably not a good idea to take this product. I wouldn't want anybody getting sick. Saying that, I'm a strong believer in once the gut is once the gut's healed and once the immune system slows down, I always tell people to work with their veterinarian and start to reintroduce things that were reactive. Once the animal has been non-reactive for, a good 6 months, you can start looking at reintroducing things that are reactive one at a time and 1 month at a time. So it's a slow process, but at my vet hospital, I did that all the time because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't limiting these animals' lives and what they could eat. And more times than not, the majority of the animals were able to go back on what they were sensitive to. So that's it. I think I'm going to stop sharing now. We've got some questions, I think. There we
We've got
go.
some great questions.
Oh yeah,
So,
awesome.
yeah. So do you want me to read them like Mari does?
Sure.
Okay. Will this product be great for dogs who itch and have a mast cell tumor, along with what other products? And that's
Yes,
from
because it has,
Krista.
yes, Krista, definitely. It definitely helps with all of that because it regulates histamine, and mast cell tumors are specifically triggered by histamine. So along with other products, the leaky gut protocol, definitely, any of our probiotics, and it doesn't replace probiotics. This product is an add-on product that you can use with anything, like absolutely anything, any age, puppies and kittens that if you're concerned that, maybe they weren't born with the greatest gut diversity, the fact that they're just, exposed to so much stuff. It's a really good product to start with puppies and kittens to try and prevent stuff big time.
And on that note, Amy asks later on, would you want to give this product to a healthy pet for a bit of prevention, or is it just for animals with health issues? So I thought this would be a perfect time to address that.
Yes, absolutely not. This product, along with probiotics, is a wonderful prevention. Wonderful.
Beauty. Stacy asks, would this be a helpful addition to use with a kitty that has an imbalance of the microbiome and yeast?
Yes. Yes, because yeast and fungus and things are considered in the gut something that IgG would attach to. So that's another big one. So it attaches itself to the yeast and removes it out of the gut. One thing that I didn't see in these slides, which is interesting, and maybe it was because I just forgot it. This is a huge thing, you guys, to try and remember. IgG is not systemic. So when you I shouldn't say IgG is systemic, but most colostrums are systemic, and Pawsitive Immunity isn't. And what that means is, so when you don't want to be giving your animal or yourself something that is going to overstimulate the body's reaction to an immunity, because that is in itself what autoimmune diseases kind of do on their own. So you've heard me talk lots about you don't want to stimulate the immune system in an autoimmune disease. So when you feed SBI or when you feed Pawsitive Immunity, it is a IgG gut. So it's not a systemic IgG that stimulates the body's IgG, because to me, you're playing with fire with any kind of immune system disease as far as autoimmune, like cancers and allergies and Cushing's and certain hypothyroidisms and things like that, arthritis. You don't want to do that. If you had something with a real problem like AIDS or something where the IgG levels are in the garbage can, like in the tank, and you want to increase IgG, that's a very different disease completely. So, but that's not what we're and in that case, you would want to take blood work and check their IgGs to see if they actually have a low IgG. So with this, I don't have to worry about it at all, because all it does is it goes, like it's, I say all it does a whole bunch of things, but it's very simple. It goes into the gut. It decreases the reaction of pro-inflammatory cytokines. It removes, it attaches itself, binds itself to antigens, toxins, pathogens, fungus, yeast, endotoxins, and it removes them out through the feces. It doesn't make the body become more reactive, which then can actually excite or make all of those other diseases worse. So that's a very big distinguishing feature or factor between positive immunity and colostrum.
Awesome.
That just reminded me about that.
And you kind of talked about that when you showed the two diagrams. The
Yeah, you can
immunoglobulins up
see the
in
IgG
the
up
gut
above and
and
then up
below.
above. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the our IgG stays below and just stays in the gut and stays is non-systemic.
Perfect. Barbara says, my youngest dog, he's 8 now, has had HGE twice. First, only 3 years ago, he very nearly died. Second time, a couple of months ago. Would this help? He's on one of our gut soothe pre and probiotics right now and eats gently cooked, high quality food. Would positive immunity be
Yeah,
good for this guy?
yes, yes. Anytime you're, sometimes when um vets are scratching their heads or the body's attacking itself through whatever. A lot of times we don't know why. We know what the process, we know what the mechanism does. Like we know what the, physiology does. We know, how something happens. We know, we know what's going on. We know what cells are dying or sloughing off. We know that, it's hemorrhagic. We know that it's this. We know that it's that. We know that, but oftentimes we don't know why. We know that this animal has an autoimmune disease or the body's attacking itself or it's got da 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 da, but we don't know why, like what's happening. So the cool thing about positive immunity is that we don't really need to know why. And with all the cancer research and stuff that I'm doing and the amount that I hear continuously about pro-inflammatory cytokines and reactivity and inflammation, you would want to, I would say, in general, focus on decreasing systemic inflammation. And the majority of systemic inflammation, or a lot of systemic inflammation, comes from the gut's reaction and overreaction because things are seeping into the bloodstream that shouldn't be there. So the body reacts and then continues to react and continues to react. So it becomes overreactive. And then depending on the person, or the animal, and its susceptibility and its initial weakness. So if its blood vessels are weak, or its joints are weak, or its cognitive function is weak, or its heart is weak, or their lungs are weak, or whatever, that when that starts to when the body starts to break down because of this pro-inflammatory cytokine, often it manifests in what the weak point is in that animal, or predisposition or predisposition. Oh, you're muted.
I'm so sorry. I'm just learning.
Okay, it's all right.
Thanks, Barbara, for your question. Thanks, Julie. Hope asked us, when is this new product available? And Hope is unfortunately in Canada.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So, I want everybody to, you know me. I'm a bit of a political pain in the butt. Um, Health Canada will not let us bring this in. So we can't have it in Canada. We decided we've been trying and trying and trying. It's why it's taken us so long. One of the reasons it's taken us so long. And then we decided that we were just going to launch it in the US because they are like, I don't want to speak poorly of them, but they are so behind the times as far as understanding supplements and understanding this industry, and not being, people are going to have to really, like the public and, wholesalers are really going to have to start to um uh become aware of how it's not just becoming licensed, it is becoming competitive. So rather than getting your license, and not license, but getting your your number, your Health Canada number, or whatever, it's really not about safety anymore. It's about who's stepping on whose toes. Is the supplement industry doing things that are going to, at the end of the day, take away some of the financial veterinary economy, right? Like I don't know a more gentle way to say it, but it's true. It's no different than humans, right? Other than people could speak. So we have a lot of really brilliant naturopathic doctors and human medical doctors supporting supplements and the health of what supplements do for people as a preventative medicine. And we unfortunately don't have that with animals. So we're kind of getting stepped on from a perspective of, no, that's just should be on the vet side, and that shouldn't, we shouldn't be able to heal the gut, and we shouldn't be able to slow down pro-inflammatory cytokines, and we shouldn't be able to do that. We're crossing the boundary of veterinary medicine. So it's really unfortunate, especially when it comes to prevention. So that Stacy, that's why. But yeah, it's really too bad.
we're hopeful though. We're very hopeful.
Oh, we're working on it. We are.
Yeah.
Thanks, Emily. I could be such a Debbie Downer and be like,
No, it's true. It's a
and
frustrating thing.
Emily's always like, yeah, but we're trying, and hopefully they'll see the light, and we're showing them all the research and sending everything that we're supposed to be sending and showing how it's safe, but I
Our
just get my
fingers are
nose out of
crossed.
joint. I just want it in Canada too. So it's like, how can it be safe and across a border and not over here? Just frustrating for me. But anyways,
We'll get there. Thanks, Hope.
yes.
Suki asks, and this is going to be very important for so many pet parents, would this be proactive for cancer or those breeds prone to HSA?
Yeah, I would say yes. I mean, I have to be very careful every time the word cancer comes up. Poor Emily cringes because she is our she's also helping us getting our NASC approval and things like that, and we have to be very careful what we say. But it is really hard for me because I've been steeped in canine cancer research at Dalhousie University now for 5 years, and no one's saying we're curing cancer. Nobody's saying any of that. All how I'm going to speak to this, to be as careful as I can be, is that anything that decreases pro-inflammatory cytokines, all you have to do is Google that, and you will get hundreds of research papers showing that that is one of the number one causes of cancer. So if you can reduce those, you are on your way to having working on something very proactive.
That was a very careful answer, but good.
But did it come across as yes?
Oh yes. We know you are all very savvy and can dig deep into the research. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. Do the research and you'll see. Stacy asks, so all mammals only produce colostrum for 3 days?
Well,
That's her
three to
question.
5. Yeah, 3 to 5 days, yeah, including people. I think the longest, I think that when they've been testing it, is maybe the immunoglobulins the maternal antibodies start to decrease after 7 days, but not very long, not very long at all.
So we have several questions about yeast, which you've kind of already addressed. When positive immunity is removing pathogens, does that include yeast? Yes, we've addressed this. Is it going to help with chronic yeast build? Is it going to help with chronic yeast buildup in the body? Sorry.
Yes. Well, yes. I mean, we can't, Stephen, we can't say 100% that it's going to do something, but the research shows that it binds to anything that kind of shouldn't be there. That is that the body would consider pathogenic, that the body would consider like an enemy, that the body would consider would cause inflammatory response, create dysbiosis. So yeast and candida and fungus are all in that category. Okay, Stacy.
Sorry, those were all yeast ones, so I tried to combine it.
Yeah.
Deanna asks, can this help to rid toxins in general from other reactions in the body, i.e. byproducts and toxins from infections, liver disease, or kidney disease?
Yeah. I'm going to say not really, because if they're byproducts from an organ, that would had already gone through the gut, right? So this is more for binding it to the gut so that it doesn't bring down the house when it comes to kidneys and liver and over too much toxins. So, once if it's toxic byproduct from an organ not functioning properly, I wouldn't say, but why don't you send that question to customer service and I will dig into that a little bit more. But I think that I would say that not as much as it would do to help prevent those things by overloading the body with overloading the organs with toxins like endotoxins, like all the stuff that we hear that's in kibble and the list goes on and on, right?
Perfect. Janet says, and you sort of addressed this, and Janet did ask before we talked about it in the presentation, but if my dog does not currently have leaky gut, is using Positive Immunity a good maintenance product?
100%. Along with probiotics, right? It help, research shows that it helps to support that the thickness, the height of, because when the gut becomes leaky and the mucosal lining becomes stretched and inflamed and rigid, it narrows, right? So it maintained the gut's height, which means it maintains that lovely pliability and healthy mucosal junctions. So yes, for sure.
How does Positive Immunity fit into the leaky gut protocol for administration to, in brackets, picky cats? Jen asks.
Okay, so I haven't had a problem with I've got 7 cats on it. I haven't had a problem with it. So if you're not having a problem with the leaky gut protocol, you should definitely not be having a problem with administering positive immunity, if that's what she's asking.
Just how does it fit into the leaky gut protocol how does it fit into the leaky gut protocol for administration to picky cats? I'm not really sure, Jen. Maybe you can.
I think you just mix it in their food, just like everything else. You just mix the powder into the food. And you know, that's about it. Like, and you can mix it with gut soothe, you can mix it with a healthy gut, you can mix it with whatever you're using.
It's very, very easy to give. Very easy to give. Oh, so here Jen has given us a little bit more. She's used leaky gut protocol for one of her cats already, and now another senior has been tentatively diagnosed with IBD. No lymphoma, thankfully. She has just finished 30 days on Animal Biome's FMT, and I'm trying to decide between moving her to leaky gut protocol or another month on FMT. One thing I worry about is she's very picky, and she hasn't been successful moving her to raw as of yet. She's on clean, no additives, canned. So
yeah, well, again, in my experience, trying to create less permeability of the gut lining is very specific to certain things. So when we're looking at probiotics are there's a lot of money and a lot of research going into finding ingredients and finding things that strengthen the gut lining so that it's not as permeable, right? So that things don't leak through it. And when it comes to probiotics play, and certain probiotics play a big role in that from a perspective of increasing the diversity of the microbiome, decreasing pathogenic attack with things like Salmonella, E. coli, depending on the strains, Clostridium, modulating the immune system. There are many benefits to doing that, and along with you know, fecal inoculation through transplants. But to date, I don't know of much other than colostrum that is given that binds to these toxins that create disease to begin with. So I would say there's a couple of things you can do. I don't know what hold on, let me just see. So IBD. So, you know, I would probably do, if you don't want to do the whole full leaky gut protocol, then you could do the feline gut soothe, which I don't find very many cats at all are picky with. And you could do positive immunity. You could do those two together, because then you're really hard hitting, and I mean hard hitting, the actual mucosal lining. And you're hard hitting it two ways. One, or you could do the leaky gut protocol and start her on one thing at a time. Like the rebalancer doesn't taste like anything. Liver tonic, if she has IBD, is going to be incredibly beneficial. The gut seal is going to be incredibly helpful because it helps to decrease scar tissue. In IBD, that's one of the main things that is so difficult to deal with, because probiotics don't decrease scar tissue. They support the immune system to function and be this incredible, like I call the gut, the conductor of everything of the body. But the gut has to be healthy in order to do that. So I don't know anything really that helps to like if you were to do it and do the positive immunity together, what you could do is like I said, the rebalancer, don't worry, I'm sure it's going to be fine. She's not going to turn her nose up to that at all. The liver tongue, I can't see her turning her nose up to either. Gut soothe, I think, is going to be fine. The only thing that she might get weirded out with is possibly healthy gut. So you can just not do that one. Just save that one until everything else is much more that you can see that she's eating everything fine. But I would right now focus on the mucosal lining. That's what I would be doing. I would be looking to make sure that you're doing everything you can to heal that lining and decrease the scar tissue.
Nice. Thanks, Jen. Sharon says, and I know you addressed this already, but Sharon may have joined us later or asked earlier, but it doesn't hurt to go back over it. If my dog is sensitive to beef liver, is this okay to take?
Well, that's an interesting question because it says beef liver. It doesn't say beef.
I didn't even catch
right?
that.
Yeah, so maybe she can jump on the chat or something and explain what that means. Because if it's allergic to beef liver and not to beef, then it could be some of the amino acids or something that shifts or changes in the liver, or does it get diarrhea on the liver? Like I don't know what she means by that. Like if the dog is allergic to beef, I wouldn't do it. Not until you've worked with either a naturopathic vet or done the leaky gut protocol so that you're trying to, decrease its sensitivity. But I wouldn't do that.
Brennan asked, do you recommend starting this product with leaky gut protocol combo rather than just by itself? And a few others have asked this, and I know we've said either or.
Yeah.
So it's good for healthy animals, but it's also good.
It really depends. Exactly. Also with this help a dog has dealt with pancreatitis. So
yeah.
pancreatitis is such a big issue right now, and I think it's from a lot of different things. But I think we used to always just believe it was from fat and from this and from that, and now we're seeing that it's starches and carbs and high glucose, and we're seeing that it's from dehydration, from not having enough blood in their diet. There's a million different reasons, but a lot of it is inflammation, just chronic inflammation, chronic systemic inflammation. And this product definitely helps with that. It helps to rid the body of the things that causes that to begin with. So, if your animal has really big signs of leaky gut, then you can do them both. No problem. You can start them both. And hopefully it expedites the leaky gut protocols end result, and helps to decrease the symptoms earlier, right? So decreasing the symptoms earlier means that what's causing the reaction, what's causing that reactivity and that stimulation is being transported out of the gut. Therefore, the gut can heal faster. You're muted again.
Sorry, did it again.
All right.
How long would you take the leaky gut protocol and positive immunity together? Krista has asked. Okay. How long would you use them together?
Well, again, it depends. I always say that symptomatically, you want your animals to be asymptomatic for at least 3 to 6 months. That's what I always say. Like 3 to 6 months where they're pretty much asymptomatic. They're not itching, their ears aren't all, gucky, their feet aren't, whatever symptoms you're seeing. They're not having diarrhea, they're not having GERD, they're not vomiting, like whatever the symptoms are, those symptoms should be alleviated for at least 3 to 6 months. But then this is a really important, I'm really glad she asked this question. This is a really important question because what I was trying to say before is that just because the gut is healed, our animals are coming in contact constantly with things that create the gut to become inflamed again. Endotoxins, chemicals, pathogens, the pollution, pesticides, things that are affecting their health of their gut every single day. So that's what was really exciting for me with this product, is that gives the body the extra hand to rid that stuff before it can affect the gut negatively. So it's something that I can't, and because it's blood, and animals would be eating blood by the tons every single day if they were out eating species specific diets, right? Like if they were out hunting and eating what they're supposed to be eating, the majority of that animal, whether it's a mouse, a rabbit, is blood. Like the amount of blood that they consume every day is huge. So it's very species specific. So, giving it daily for a while and then taking, a month on, taking a month off and then starting it again, or going, on a week, off a week after their symptoms have improved. I'm not worried about giving it too often because it's not systemic. That's the big deal. We're not stimulating the IgG. That is so important in comparison to colostrum, right? We aren't stimulating the body to do something that we don't know whether it should be doing. We're just literally putting IgG into the gut so that the gut can bind to intruders, things that cause disease, and then rid it through the feces.
Good. Hope says, how would this fit in with the relief protocol?
Really, really fit in with the relief protocol. So I would give it the whole time. Like I wouldn't alternate it. You know how the relief protocol we alternate? I would just give it straight full time while they're on the relief protocol.
Perfect. Amy says, would this help with warts or sebaceous cysts?
So, I mean, warts and sebaceous cysts are a sign of something, right? They're a sign that the body's not functioning to its optimum. Just to let you know, Amy, that at least the warts and sebaceous cysts are external, right? The body is healthy enough to push this disease or whatever, like dis-ease, whatever is affecting your animal with this scenario, is strong enough to push it to the top. So when we remove warts or we give things to sort of like suppress them, then it goes deeper down. It's just the same as skin disease. So if the warts and the sebaceous cysts are being caused by inflammation or the body's reaction to inflammation, then it should.
Paula said, should this product be pulsed? If so, how often?
Right. So it can, if it's symptomatic, the symptoms should go away first. And then, like I said, I think pulsing is something that's amazing. And but I also feel like it's something that is great to do it how you feel is the most beneficial for you, easiest to do. So I know some people go, 1 day off, 6 days on. Some people go 1 week on, 1 week off. I know people that do 1 month on, 1 month off. It's really it's really a preference. And also I always tell people to keep a journal for their animals. There's nothing stopping, there's nothing dangerous about this. You could wait till the symptoms resolve or abide, and then go, okay, well, now I'm gonna do 1 day off, see how they do that for maybe 3 weeks, and then you can go, well, maybe now I'm gonna do a week on, a week off. try it like that rather than extreme going to like 3 months on, 1 month off, that sort of stuff. You can write that down and write how your animals are doing.
That's something you've always drilled into us, and I've started doing it. When I first met Julie, I started doing it anytime anything came up. Keep that journal because you never know when you're going to have to go back to it and how valuable it is.
How
Such
valuable.
such
Yeah.
such incredible advice. Michelle asks, can this product be given daily along with healthy gut and the probiotics for dogs with environmental sensitivities?
Yes. That's environmental sensitivity. That's, environmental sensitivity is one of the hardest things because you can't remove them. Right. And that's when it's to talk about seasonal allergies and environmental stuff, because you can't get rid of that stuff. You can't go, oh, well, my dog's allergic to rice, so I'm going to stop giving rice. Henry, I'm going to stop giving rice. So you can remove that out of their diet, or is allergic to kangaroo, so I'm not going to feed kangaroo. But we can't remove environmental pollutions, and we can't remove a lot of environmental stuff. So it's very helpful.
For so many animals. Susan asks, is this good for a 15-year-old sedentary cat with extensive nasal and throat congestion and chronic constipation?
I can think of lots of things that would be good for that cat. Yeah, I mean, I would say along with probiotics, along with, Susan, if you can get, especially the feline probiotic, or the feline gut soothe, because nasal and throat congestion often comes from inflammation in the mucosal lining of the throat and the sinuses, and slippery elm, and all the things that are in feline gut soothe also help. And acetylglucosamine, all of that stuff helps. Chronic constipation, yes. So it's been the Pawsitive Immunity has helped with constipation and diarrhea, because it helps to it helps support the lining of the gut. And if the congestion in the throat, it's all coming from something, right? So when you think of systemic inflammation, Pawsitive Immunity helps with systemic inflammation. So, that's it. This is screaming, the throat and the nasal stuff is screaming that.
Big time. Will this be appropriate for a cat with IBD and possible small cell lymphoma? He recently had a fibrosarcoma removed and just finished 18 radiation treatments. Poor guy.
Yeah, that's a lot. So that kitty, I don't know if it's a kitty or a cat, yes, is going to need a complete reinoculation of its microbiome, for sure. And definitely needs to have a revamp of its gut, because for sure 18 radiation treatments, there's going to be a lot going on with this kitty that you can support. So definitely that I would recommend that for sure, and really recommend, like I said, either the feline gut soothe or Phytosflora, and also liver tonic a lot. Yeah. Oh, you're
I'll get
muted
there, Drew.
again.
I'll get there, I promise. Does this does this work like digestive enzymes do for nutrients to be absorbed?
Not the same way, but it definitely has the research showing that it helps that helps the body absorb its nutrients. It does it differently, but it does it by decreasing the inflammatory response that inhibits nutrition. So it does it in a different way.
Right. Beth
Henry
asks, is this product good for elevated liver and kidney values?
Well, it's not going to hurt them. If how I look at this is, remember when I was saying that Henry, come here, honey. Remember how I was saying that, good boy, when the bodies, the toxins are entering the body, right? So when it enters into the bloodstream, the first thing that has to happen is no, the reaction happens, but then what happens is that the kidneys and the liver have to detoxify it. So by decreasing the amount of toxins going into the bloodstream, you're immediately supporting the kidneys and the liver to be able to be not overwhelmed as much, right? So it's definitely supportive in that way.
Makes a lot of sense. Brian asks, can you give this to a pet currently on a protocol such as Yeasty Beast, or should you complete the protocol first? I know we've talked a lot about leaky gut, but this is the first question about, can we use it with Yeasty Beast?
100%, 100%. You can. Yeah.
Would it bind to yeast-based probiotic like S. boulardii?
Giardia, no. No. The IgG attracts and binds to, it's like the body is so brilliant that it knows what is pathogenic, it knows what is harmful. It binds to things that shouldn't be there.
Sharon is saying, and I apologize, Sharon, if you were the person who asked earlier and I have forgotten. She says, my dog is an 80 dog and sensitive to beef liver, but okay with beef according to a sensitivity test. So is this okay for him to take?
Well, it's definitely not beef liver, it's beef blood. So the only way you would know is if you tried it, you know. But if it's only sensitive to beef liver, then what you would have to do is, like, I don't know how it's sensitive to beef liver. Does it get itchy? Does it get and have you tried it with beef? Have you ever fed it just plain beef without liver? I don't know. If you've tried it, if you've tried giving your dog beef and it's not sensitive to it, but you give it beef liver and it's sensitive, but it's fine with straight beef, I would say it would be fine to give, because it would be, if there's something that's specific in the liver that it's sensitive to.
Hope says, does the waste that comes out of your dog's poop contain the yeast overgrowth, etc., that this and the leaky gut Yeasty Beast products remove? Just wondering why my dog has recently started burying his poop like a cat. Interesting.
Oh, does the waste that comes out of your dog's poop contain the yeast overgrowth, etc., that this and the leaky gut Yeasty Beast products remove? Just wondering. Isn't that interesting? Started burying his poop like a cat. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
Intuitively, I would say that there's something in his poop now that he's not feeling should be exposed. You know, that he's like, okay, yeah, that this needs to get covered. That's what I would think. I mean, the only other reason that sometimes dogs cover their poop is if they're feeling threatened by something outside, right? If they're feeling threatened and they want to hide their tracks, then they'll cover their poop.
Interesting question. Debbie asks, what about something like Giardia?
Yeah, this is where this and a really good probiotic strain is the best defense when it comes to things like Giardia, is to just gear the gut up to remove as many pathogens and enemies as possible. It's so interesting. Giardia is a very interesting Giardia is a very interesting thing because some dogs can drink from a puddle that and never get Giardia, and then another dog will drink from the puddle and get Giardia, or walk through a swampy area and get it, and the other 20 other dogs can do it and not get it. So, I think Giardia is something that they're very susceptible to, and how bad they get it. Some dogs can just have a little bit of squirts for a couple days, and then you wouldn't even know that they had it. It never gets that bad. Um, you know, they would, really, really, um, it's just their susceptibility to it, right? The stronger their gut is, and the more diverse it is, the stronger the less permeable their gut lining is. Giardia is less of a threat.
Right. How often would you give this to a healthy pup who's on pre and probiotics?
I'd probably give it for like a whole jar. Like I would finish a whole jar, and then I would probably do it, I would go through a whole jar. If it depends on your size of your dog, but I would probably go through a whole jar, every like 4 times a year. And if you're going to go into somewhere, like let's say you're going into an area where there's been a forest fire, and there's going to be a lot of, fire pollution, and there's going to be, or you're going into an area where that they've just been spraying a lot, or it's the time of year when they're spraying, or, like you can also like help, start it up if you think that you're going to be in a situation where there might be more toxins, and the gut needs more support.
My dog has had problems with constipation, and I was told he needs more fiber. He's 15. He's a 15-year-old Yorkie. Would this help?
It could. And I'll tell you it could. I mean, I like fiber too for dogs. I'm one of those people that do like fiber. But sometimes when the gut isn't pliable enough, when we talk about its thickness, its height, it retains its height. Adding more fiber compacts it even more, you know? So using this is something that helps to maintain the mucosal height, the actual measured mucosal height. So I can imagine that it could very well be very helpful for constipation.
This is a good question. It's going to be helpful for, again, a lot of pet parents. If your dog is super sensitive when introducing new products, how do you introduce this? Dawn's dog is already on Healthy Gut and Gut Soothe, but in general, how would you introduce this to a new dog, especially a sensitive one?
I would always start off with like maximum a quarter of the normal amount, and really mix it well. Make sure that it's really, really mixed well. And then if that goes down okay, the next day still do a quarter. That goes down okay, the next day go up just a sprinkle more. Like minimally adding more and more and more until they're on the recommended amount.
Does it affect stool quality at all?
It does, but in a positive way. So it should if the stools are loose or constipated, it should help to balance that out.
Oh, a manufacturing question. Korth asks, is this new product processed in a way that preserves its intent, as in low heat and so forth?
Yes.
Julie makes it seem so simple, like she hasn't spent hours and hours and hours digging into the research and speaking with the scientists. And oh my goodness, if you know anything about Julie and how she sources products, you can trust that that intent is so crucial to the final product. So,
Yeah.
but you make it seem so simple.
Yes,
Well,
it's one of the most interesting manufacturing procedures, and it's quite fascinating.
Stephanie asks, will this product help get rid of cancer?
Oh boy.
There's my initial cringe.
I know. You know, get rid of cancer. I don't, we're talking a whole different um mm, a whole different podcast, or it's not a podcast, a whole different seminar on getting rid of cancer or supporting your animal through cancer, or however we're legally allowed to call it. All I can say when it comes to this is that, as I mentioned before, the decrease of pro-inflammatory cytokines is what you want to be doing when you're looking at cancer. It's one of the big things that you want to be doing is doing that. And the research is proving that this product does decrease the pro-inflammatory cytokines. So that's really the only way I can answer that question.
Sarah asks, can this help with acid reflux?
So again, why do they have acid reflux, right? So it's inflammation, right? It's inflammation in this dog or cat that has the acid reflux, because cats can get it too. Has it because there's an inflammatory procedure, whether that is, with GERD or something, with the reflux seeping through because the esophagus is inflamed and the sphincter doesn't close properly. Anytime you can decrease systemic inflammation, anytime is a good time. Like, our bodies and our animals' bodies are so inflamed, so chronically, systemically inflamed. Anytime we can do our due diligence to try and decrease that inflammatory process, whatever it is that it's manifested in, it should help it to resolve.
Here's another very interesting one. Can this be used topically? I've heard you can mix colostrum with water to form a paste and apply it that way. Jennifer's considering trying it for her dog's itchy paws. Not sure if this product would also be able to be used that way.
No. So at least I don't think so. That's something that she could send to customer service too, and I can reach out to those guys. But the way it would help your dog's itchy paws is that if your dog's paws are itchy, it's overreacting to something. It is creating a overreactive immune response that's causing the itch to happen, the inflammation and the itch to happen. So when you are able to remove the contributing factors that elicit that response, there should be a decrease in the itching, right? So that's what I would say to that.
Makes sense.
Henry.
Approximately how soon? I'm just going to ask a few more questions because we're already at, we've already answered as many, but they just keep coming in and coming in. Thank you all for being so engaged. We're so excited, and we're so glad that you are as excited as we are. Approximately how soon could a pet parent notice some kind of improvement if administered daily, generally speaking, like weeks or months?
I would say 2 to 3 weeks, which is really pretty quick when it comes to something systemic like that, right? Like when I say it's not systemic, but the symptoms are coming from something systemic, inflammatory, systemic inflammation, right? So I would say 2 to 3 weeks.
Elizabeth asks, I was under, and I'm not sure if this is something that we can answer here because it's a colostrum specific question, but I'll put it out to you and
Okay.
you can make that decision. I was under the impression that colostrum was an immune modulator versus an immune stimulator. How can I understand this better?
It could be for how they process it, right? Because not all colostrum is the same. But the body in an infant, that's not how it works. In an infant, the whole reason for colostrum is to give antibodies and give the body the support it needs for viruses and bacteria and pathogens until it can start to produce its own. That's why it's so harmful to vaccinate when the mother's antibodies are still active in the animal's body, because it's doing the same thing. The vaccination is stimulating the body to attack that particular antigen or that particular virus, right? That particular enemy. And the mother's antibodies is doing the same thing. So they can often counteract each other or cause a really severe autoimmune reaction. So I can't really speak to that other than that's not really how colostrum works. But the best thing about that is there's so many different companies with colostrum, is to reach out to them and ask them for the science to show that it's an immune modulator. Right? That would be, for me, that would make me feel the most comfortable if I was using colostrum, Henry, with my animal.
We were all watching him build a nest back there.
He's being silly.
Other than a beef sensitivity, are there any other reasons the positive immunity shouldn't be used with certain conditions?
No.
And I'll make this one the last one. It's a two-parter. How is the bovine blood treated to make sure it is disease-free so nothing is passed to our pets? And that's a good question and one we can very easily answer. And then the second part is, how do you think this would help a dog with lymphoma? So this is from Brennan.
So the lymphoma part, I'm going to get you to speak to do you know the answer for that exactly? With the path, with how it's processed? Because we
put
have
me on
so
the
much.
spot.
Yeah, I know, but don't worry. But I was thinking maybe you can just find it and read it.
Yeah.
If you can find it. If you can't find it, don't worry.
Try my best.
It is, I just want to let you know as well, too, that it's not a pet product. It's an FDA approved ingredient. So it's GMP certified. It's actually produced in its own plant. That's how very specific this company is. The other thing about that too is that it's used with animals that have only been FDA inspected, right? So it has to be for human consumption. The one that we use is from New Zealand, so it's all grass-fed and antibiotic free and really super ethical. So Emily can just read the section of that if she can find it. If not, then we can send you the research as well. I don't have a problem with not research. We can actually send you their standards and procedures of how they do that. But as far as lymphoma goes, like, again, anything to do with chronic disease, anything to do with cancers, anything to do with that whole cytokine storms almost, or cytokine, the too much pro-inflammatory cytokines, anytime you can reduce that is going to be favorable with cancer or lymphoma or anything severely chronic. Were you able to find it?
Oh my gosh, I just realized how dark it got. So I should have had this at my hand beside me. I'll have to really dig in. So Brennan, if you want to send us an email, you can send me an email, emily@adoredbeast.com.
Yeah.
I can dig through and send you all the research because there are numerous studies. But yes, it's FDA approved. They're very clean, and we've run through it with them, the process.
Well, they actually the plasma's removed. So it's not just straight,
Yes.
it's not just straight blood, right? So they actually have to go through a process of removing the plasma. So in that process, it's a very, very particular process of how they remove this. And it's it I'm not concerned about it at all, because I had that question as well, and they completely answered me in like 25 pages of research. So we're not going to send you that.
No.
We'll send you, Emily, do you want to put your name, your thing in the chat maybe so that you can see it?
Yep.
Uh we'll send you whatever, or if you want it all, I'm happy to send anything. We're so transparent. We'll send you whatever you want. But definitely there are specific steps to prove to the FDA, because this is a human supplement. So we're the first people to use it for animals. And so this had to go through really stringent FDA regulations. There's one question down here. It says, what about any sort of efficacy for stomatosis? And
Oh,
I'll just speak to that for 1 second, because that can be so bad.
yes,
We have a
sure.
dog that has my partner has a dog that has perianal fistulas. She's a German Shepherd, and she moved here in March, and it was doing really well. But perianal fist, she's 8 years old. She's had them since she was 3. And he was in BC and was doing everything, like all the drugs and the immune suppressive drugs and stuff, like everybody that loves their animals and thinks that they're doing the best. And since she's been on this, you can't even see them. So it's I think stomatosis, I'm using her perianal fistulas, mouth and bum, very, very far apart, but I'm using them as something similar, because stomatosis is very sensitive, it's very painful. It can be so full of bacteria. The mouth can be so full of bacteria, just like the anus. And it again, if we can decrease the immune response, because she's got autoimmune question mark, which stomatosis usually is, I would say definitely give it a try and give something like that. With Kona, it took us 2 months, her being on it 2 months, and we can't even see them now. Like flashlight on her bum, the whole 9 yards, and we can't see it. So I would try it for sure.
Okay, so I think I'm so sorry to all who had questions, but know that our customer success team, we are standing by. The whole team is standing by, because we know you're going to have a whole slew of questions for us, and we're here to answer them. We can't answer them all tonight, so I guess I'll close this out. Thank you very much. We're so very excited. It is available now in the US, and we're sorry. We're working our butts off to get it in Canada. I'll say thank you myself, and then Julie, if you want to close it out for us.
Yes, I just can't stop reading all of these questions. But I really, really, really hope that you guys will just like cut and paste it and send it to customer service, and then we will get back to you. For sure. We'll get back to you with as much as we can.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for showing up, and your feedback, if you start using it, your feedback is really, really welcomed. And thank you for everything that you're doing for your animals. I think it's just amazing. It just warms my heart every time I see all these people showing up that they want to do better for their animals, and we're here to help you, support you to try and do that as well. So have a good night, and thank you so much for everyone for coming. Thank you, Emily. You did an awesome job. Mariana will be
We'll
very
leave it there.
proud. Okay. All right. Thanks,
Thank you for being
everybody.
patient. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Night.